Hello and welcome to the Art of Reflection. Today's episode is for the quiet, uncertain moments, the kind where you find yourself wondering, who even am I anymore? Why do I feel so strange in my own skin? Am I changing, or am I just finally noticing parts of myself that were always there? If you've ever sat with those questions, or maybe you're sitting with them now, I want to offer you something gentle, a space without pressure, without conclusions, just stillness, because who am I isn't a question with one answer. It's a path you walk, a landscape you keep exploring. So let's walk it together for a while. The feeling of being out of place in your own life. You might not even know what triggered it. Maybe everything's fine on the outside, your job, your relationships, your routine, but somehow it all feels slightly off. Like you're living a version of yourself that made sense before but doesn't fit anymore. Like you're showing up as someone you're not sure you believe in. There's no drama, no meltdown, just the slow hum of dissonance. A quiet awareness that something inside has shifted. You try to carry on, smile, perform, hold it together. But somewhere deep down the question won't let go. Is this really me? And maybe even scarier, if this isn't me, who is? We often imagine the self as something fixed, like a personality quiz result we're supposed to carry for life. But what if the self isn't a thing at all? What if it's a process, a movement, a becoming? You're not a statue carved once and forever. You're more like a tree, growing in spirals, shedding old bark, stretching toward the light in uneven, imperfect ways. Change isn't a betrayal of who you are, it's how you honor who you are. By listening, by adjusting, by growing into the next version of yourself. And sometimes that growth looks like confusion, like drifting, like not knowing what to believe anymore. But that doesn't mean you're lost, it means you're alive. Every identity we carry is a kind of story, told to us, shaped by us, absorbed from culture, family, school, and friends. We learn to say, I'm the smart one, I'm shy, I'm the people pleaser, I'm the mess, I'm the strong one, the one who keeps it all together. But those stories are old clothes. They fit once, maybe they protected you, but they don't have to be your forever uniform. You're allowed to take off what no longer fits, to rewrite your story, not in one dramatic leap, but in small acts of honesty. You might begin with one sentence. Maybe I am not that person anymore. And from there you breathe. You listen. You let the next chapter unfold in its own time. You're not erasing your past, you're evolving beyond it. Growth isn't always glorious. Sometimes it's quiet and lonely. We love the idea of growth, but we forget how it often feels. It's not always inspiring. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, isolating, like being in the middle of a story with no clear ending. You might feel further from yourself, not closer. You might miss the certainty you used to have, even if it was limiting. You might even grieve old versions of you, the ones that were simpler, clearer, easier to explain to others. This is what real development looks like. You're shedding layers, reconfiguring, not from a place of failure, but because you're finally making space for what's real. Think of it like repotting a plant. There's a period where it looks droopy, unrooted, uncertain, but only because it's being given more room to grow. Becoming is not a race, it's a practice of returning. There's no finish line, no final perfect version of you to unlock. You're always becoming. And becoming doesn't mean constantly reinventing yourself. Sometimes it means circling back, noticing the threads that have always been there. The way you love beauty, the way you care, the questions that won't leave you alone. These are your compass points, not your job title, not your image, not what people expect of you. Progress doesn't always look like a forward motion. Sometimes it's depth. Sometimes it's healing old patterns. Sometimes it's pausing to ask, what do I actually need right now? And sometimes it's not knowing at all, but staying open anyway. Growth can be soft, and you're allowed to change quietly. You don't have to rebrand your life. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone or anyone. You don't need a new wardrobe or a 5-year plan or a spiritual awakening. You can change quietly. You can grow in invisible ways through the questions you ask, the boundaries you hold, the kindness you offer yourself when no one's watching. You can be in development and still be enough. You can be in progress and still be real. There's no shame in being in between. If you feel lost, you're not alone. If you're listening to this and thinking, but I don't even know where to begin, that's okay. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not missing anything. Sometimes not knowing who you are is the most honest thing you can feel. Because knowing is not the goal. Living is. Showing up with curiosity, letting go of false certainty, learning what feels true today. That's the work. That's the path. And you're already on it. You're a work in progress, and that's beautiful. You're not a finished product. You're not a brand. You're not a concept to be perfected. You're human, layered, changing, deepening. You're allowed to evolve, to grow slowly, to return to yourself again and again in new ways. And if no one has told you lately, you're doing better than you think. You're becoming in ways you can't always see, and you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep going. If this episode gave you something to think about, something to hold on to in a tender moment, I'd love if you share it with someone who might need it too. And if you want to support Art of Reflection and help more people find these quiet, thoughtful spaces, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing wherever you're listening. Until next time, keep questioning, keep reflecting, and stay curious.